If Bruce Lee were alive today, the world would not merely marvel at an aging icon, but witness a Renaissance mind unbound by chronology. He would stand as a living contradiction, ancient and ultra-modern, minimal and explosive, philosophical and visceral. A man who once promised to be water would now find the planet thirsty for such fluidity, in a century fractured by rigidity. His presence would challenge our obsession with specialization, reminding us that the body can think, that movement can speak, and that philosophy can punch through the silence. In cinema, Lee would likely redefine realism in action, not as spectacle, but as poetry. Directors might seek him not only for choreography, but for insight into pacing, tension, and rhythm. He could revolutionize streaming-era storytelling with shorter, sharper narratives that strike like a one-inch punch. Precise, economical, unforgettable. Virtual production studios might scan his frame to teach digital actors how to move with intention instead of motion alone. In MMA and combat sports, Lee would no longer be the uncredited architect. He would be the elder statesman of hybrid combat. Fighters might come to him as chess players do to grandmasters, not for bravado, but for wisdom, timing, feinting, distancing, deception. Sports scientists could track his neural responses in slow motion, astonished at a nervous system tuned like a stringed instrument. In philosophy and spirituality, the Zen fragments scattered through his notebooks would find new disciples. His words, once dismissed as mere martial artist quotes, would join the canon of Stoics and mystics. Lee might speak not of victory, but of becoming, not of force, but of removal, not of identity, but of emergence. Young seekers could cite him in the same breath as Rilke, Laozi, and Krishnamurti. In technology, his body might enter the digital archives, the world's most studied kinetic system. Robotics labs could analyze how a human can move with both minimal tension and maximal intent. Video game designers might adapt his principles into combat engines based not on damage outputs, but on fluid strategy and spatial negotiation. VR fitness platforms could ask him to design experiences where mastery replaces monotony. In fashion and aesthetics, Lee's clean silhouettes, turtlenecks, training suits, tinted glasses, would feel eerily contemporary. Fashion houses might reinterpret his style as a modern uniform, precise, minimal, functional. Sneakers inspired by his philosophy could teach that form follows purpose, not vanity. In wellness and health culture, he would become a prophet of integration. Long before biohackers and longevity gurus, Lee was building a science of the self. Diet, breathwork, sleep, strength, mobility, and intention, woven as a single fabric. In the age of burnout, he might teach that mastery begins not with ambition, but with alignment. In global culture and identity, Bruce Lee would symbolize diaspora not as displacement, but as synthesis. Hong Kong-born, Seattle-forged, globally resonant, his life would speak to millions who now live between languages, between histories, between continents. Universities might analyze him as a cultural text, a fusion of East and West, not through compromise, but through conversation. In activism and representation, Lee might champion visibility without dogma, not wielding his identity as a weapon, but as evidence that talent is not local, that genius is not ethnic, that possibility can travel. A generation raised on multinational screens might see in him the future of storytelling, transcultural, translingual, transgenerational. In business and entrepreneurship, Lee would reject soulless branding in favor of craft. What he built would not merely sell products, it would sell principles, simplicity, directness, honesty. His gyms might feel like modern monasteries, half laboratory, half dojo, half library, where the student learns to punch, but also to perceive. And in youth culture, where irony often hides sincerity, Lee could restore seriousness to the pursuit of excellence. Teenagers scrolling through life in fragments might find in him a mentor of coherence, a reminder that a person can commit to something, refine something, become something. In the end, imagining Bruce Lee alive today is not nostalgia, but prophecy. His philosophy was always one step beyond the present, one breath ahead of convention. If the future belongs to those who transcend categories, then Bruce Lee would not merely belong to the 21st century. He might define what it means to be a 21st century human.